Hey guys, welcome to patch 11.15 analysis. We got a really good patch for mid lane here. There's a lot of changes this patch, but the most important ones that I will tell you are Cassiopeia buff and SYNDRA buff. Okay, so Cassiopeia buff, her early game is buffed pretty hard. She does double the damage empowered at level 2. So yeah, I mean obviously it doesn't mean her actual DPS is doubled, but the bonus went from 10 to 20, which is a 2 times increase. And this 20 damage is crazy because as Cassiopeia, you can probably get like 3 E's in on a trade. That's 30 extra damage. Essentially an extra auto attack, so people can't really contest her nearly as heavily in the early game. So yeah, this should be really good. Cassiopeia has been in a really bad spot for the past like year or so. And hopefully this helps her get back into the meta. Second change that is also just as important, if not more important, because this champion actually has a good matchup into Cassiopeia, is SYNDRA change. Okay, so SYNDRA, so they just reverted the mana cost. Her Q used to cost 40 mana at level 1, and now it does again. This means SYNDRA can really hard pressure the early game. So yeah, now she's going to be strong again. We're definitely going to see her in meta again, for sure. Like, SYNDRA's going to be very, very well played in pro play again. And now she'll be viable for solo queue as well. Alright, after those two changes, we can just go from the top down. Any 5% ASIO nerf doesn't really do that much. Kind of sucks for any mains, I guess. ASOL nerf for some random reason. 1 second cooldown increase on his Q. Blitzcrank buff actually 20 damage and also 20% AP ratio increase. That doesn't really matter though. Also 3 armor because the AP ratio, you're probably not going to build AP anyways. But yeah, 20 more damage. I guess a bit more cheesy, a bit more kill pressure. So yeah. I don't think this will make it meta or anything, but it's pretty good for Blitzcrank players, I guess. Late game buff onto Caitlyn Q. 5% more AD ratio per each point. I guess that's kind of nice, I guess. It doesn't really do that much, but yeah. Gwen nerf. This is pretty big. So the thing about Gwen is when she presses E, she would gain 40% flat attack speed, but now she only gains 20%, which is extremely big. That's like about 550 gold value lost on her E at level 1. At late game, it's the exact same attack speed, but like moving up, scaling up to that, it's definitely going to feel a lot rougher. So yeah, Gwen's not going to be nearly as OP in top lane and mid lane, or jungle actually, because she can't really clear as quick with this attack speed nerf. So yeah, I'd say Gwen will be in a more balanced spot. She'll still be a monster at level 13, but her early game will be significantly weak because you're not going to get more than 20% attack speed off your E until about level 11, I'd say, is when you'd actually get a decent amount of attack speed, because you're not putting points into E until like level 8, level 10, and level 12. So level 13 you'll be really strong, but you're gonna hit that awkward phase until about level 10. Alright, Irelia has been extremely strong in both solo queue and pro play. They're nerfing the OP ratio they gave her by a little bit, but I think she'll still be pretty strong. They're also reducing the amount of damage she can reduce by a little bit, 40 to 70% instead of 40 to 80%, and 20 to 35% instead of 20 to 40%. I think she's still just the same champion. I think she'll still be pretty strong, but I guess she won't be as giga OP anymore. She won't do nearly as much burst with her W. If you guys don't know, Irelia has been maxing W in like some matchups, and it just does a shit ton of damage. But now it's going to do less damage, and it's also going to reduce a little bit less damage. Kayle nerf, 4 less magic resist. I guess because people have been playing her mid lane for some reason. I never played it mid because I don't think it's good, but okay, cannon buff. This is actually pretty big. So yeah, he gets about... Okay, so he gets 10 more flat damage per level, and he also gets 5 more damage per level scaling as well. So that's pretty big. And also they increased the ratio by 5%. So that's pretty huge, I'd say. I'm definitely feeling some AP Kennen vibes up in the top lane. Maybe I'll start playing some AP Kennen top whenever I'm off-rolled. Alright, Mordekaiser buff. So the shield he gets from getting damaged ratio is increased, and also the cooldown is buffed as well. So it's a shorter cooldown now. I don't think this really does anything. Mordekaiser is kind of a poopy champion. Nidalee buff. This is actually really big for Nidalee. Like, a lot of champions... Okay, so there's been a trend with champions getting HP buffs like Irelia, Akali, Ryze, and now Nidalee has joined the fray. So, yeah. This should help her scale pretty well. Especially that she's squishy recently, because she doesn't build Row anymore like she used to. Let's see. Rel buff, 2-second reduction on her W. Rumble nerf, utility-wise. So there's an interaction on Rumble where you could actually press more abilities before you overheat. Like, you could use more abilities before you overheat than intended. And they got rid of that. So Rumble's definitely going to be a lot weaker now, I'd say. And his kit's going to be a little bit more hard to manage. But it shouldn't really affect the veteran players, but it kind of sucks, because you can't output as much DPS anymore. AP Shyvana buffs, cooldown buff, like the cooldown is shorter early, and then more AP ratios on her Q. Yeah. So Sylas Q buff and Sylas W nerf. Okay, so they're gonna make his Q do more damage, just 10 more flat, and also 10% more ratio, and make his W heal a lot less. As you guys can see, the maximum heal base goes from 300 to 250, and 50 health is a lot. All right, and they also nerfed the ratio on his healing, so that's even more nerf. So like 60 less healing per W. So yeah, maybe we'll see some Q-Max Sylas again. I don't know, but yeah, we'll probably see some Q-Max Sylas. W-Max is still okay, but it's not nearly as OP. So yeah, I think he'll be in a... We'll see how he goes. Whenever his Q gets like really OP, it usually gets really OP, but I don't think this is enough to make him super OP, because his Q still does a lot of reduced damage to minions, so his wave clear is not going to be that crazy. And also, it's really hard to actually land the detonation damage, so maybe he needs another buff to actually have him be OP. We already went over Syndra. He's probably going to be the most broken mid laner this patch, so keep your eyes out. Thresh E nerf, so his Flay cooldown is going to be longer, just in general. Yeah, 2 seconds longer early, and then 1 second longer late game. Okay, Viego changes, so they're nerfing his laning, again, and then they're buffing his jungling. So he's going to do bonus damage to jungle monsters, so they're going to buff his clear a little, and they're also nerfing his Q's base damage. I guess maybe it's not a buff and more like a nerf hidden as a jungle buff, because like they took away 10 damage here, right? But then they added 10 damage here, so his jungle clear might just be the same, and then they might have just nerfed his fucking laning completely, because he doesn't heal nearly as much for minions. So yeah, maybe it's just he's just about the same, except his laning is nerfed. I feel like that's what this is. I think his laning is literally just nerfed. Yeah, that's what it feels like. Wukong nerf, less health regen. Cool, I guess. This one's kind of random, I ain't gonna lie. Xayah R buff. So her cooldown on her ult will be a lot lower now. And coupled with stuff like Essence Reaver that reduces cooldown, this could be fairly significant, I'd say. So yeah, Xayah utility buff later. Hullbreaker buff, just more armor and MR the later on it goes for the minions. So yeah. I mean, this item hasn't actually been performing nearly as much as we thought it would, because it's just team fight meta. So I guess this is kind of nice, but I don't think it'll really solve the issue. You have to, in order to make split push more viable, like the meta has to shift itself. Alright, we don't really care too much about all that stuff. Some skins coming out: Sentinel Grave, Sentinel Pike, Sentinel Rengar, Ruined MF, kind of nuts. Cyberpop Akshan, and Unbound Thresh. Kind of like Human Rise, but Unbound Thresh. Yeah. And here's how they look in game. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys will have a fun time on patch 11.15. Definitely look out for Cassiopeia and Syndra. Syndra especially. I think Syndra will definitely be popping off in both pro play and solo queue. So yeah. Anyways, thank you guys all very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.